Mission accomplished. When I hear those words, I think of members of our armed forces who plan and execute a military mission, reach their objectives, and return home safely. Let me tell you about one such military mission accomplished. It begins with a true story from Korea, one that was first told in the Marshall, Texas newspaper on November 30th, 1952. A young Air Force pilot, Second Lieutenant Quinn Fuller, was shot down on his first combat mission in Korea. He went down 30 miles behind enemy lines, and the communist troops on the ground were trying to hit him with small arms and machine gun fire as they closed in on his position. Fighter planes overhead kept the enemy at bay with strafing runs until a rescue helicopter, piloted by World War II veteran pilot Captain Owen with rescue medic Elmer Davis on board, swooped in to rescue Fuller. The fighter pilot, new to Korea and combat, didn't know the proper way to get into the sling and only put his arms through it instead of putting it on like a vest. As Captain Clark pulled up to get them out of there, the winch stuck, and Medic Davis laid on his belly and grabbed Quinn by the collar of his flight jacket and shouted to Owen, "Set us down, he's slipping away." So Owen had to land the helicopter a ways from the pickup zone, but still in enemy-held territory, in order for them to get Quinn Fuller on board. They learned later that such a rare rescue of a downed U.S. pilot behind enemy lines was actually the last one accomplished during the Korean War. I know about that rescue because the decorated helicopter pilot, Owen Clark, was my stepfather, marrying my mother after my dad's death. As the family prepared to celebrate Owen's 80th birthday, my task was to put together a memory album about his past, along with cards and notes of best wishes. His sister sent me the 1952 article from the newspaper, which started me on a search for the pilot, Quinn Fuller, and the medic, Elmer Davis. Through internet searches, I was able to track down Fuller, and our family flew him to town to surprise Owen at his birthday celebration. And although I left numerous messages on military websites and message boards, I was not able to locate Elmer Davis before the party. Watch an edited video clip of the surprise reunion between Owen, the helicopter pilot, and Quinn, the downed fighter pilot. It was filmed in the days before high-quality digital video was available, but it should be clear enough for you to get the idea of the reunion. Quinn, by the way, was introduced as a neighbor, Dennis White, the name which Quinn used as a call sign the day he was shot down in Korea. Owen obviously didn't pick up on that clue, later saying that his only focus that day was getting that pilot out of there. He was so focused, for instance, that he wasn't even aware that they were under enemy fire as he piloted the mission.
This is my father, Owen Clark. This is Dennis White.
Owen, Dennis White.
He knew you were in Korea and wanted to meet you. He's right down the road. So you were in the land of the morning calm also?
Yeah.
Well, when were you over there?
I came over in, let's see, latter part of 52.
Well, that's when I went. Summer. I got over in summer 52.
Where were you stationed?
Well, I was at, I was at Air Rescue, and our headquarters were in Japan, 3rd Air Rescue Group, but we were Detachment 1,
Well, that's
and headquarters in Seoul.
At Seoul?
Yeah.
Wait,
There at that
K-16?
K-16.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, we had that helicopters up on North Island called Chodo.
Yeah.
And we had one on the South Island, I think called the Pinyin Do or something.
Yeah.
And then we had an element that worked with the MASH unit, the 8055 MASH unit up there.
I see. Well, I was at K2 and I flew F-84s. And,
I picked up a guy.
Is that right?
What's his name?
Say good.
Yeah, I picked up a kid. You ever second lieutenant named Fuller? I believe his name was Fuller. I tell you when I picked that kid up was in November of 52.
Well, that's when I got there.
This kid was on his first mission.
He was.
very first mission on the conference.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got home because when I got him, he didn't get in the sling right.
Yeah.
He just had his arm through the sling and got him up to the door. And while I was getting out of there and climbing on out, and the medic told me, he says, I can't hold him much longer. He's going to fall. So I had to go back down. I auto-rotated down.
Did you ever make contact with him after that rescue?
I saw him one time. I was down at Take and I saw him, but that was shortly after. That wasn't much over a month later.
So you wouldn't recognize him if he walked in the room, would you?
Oh no, he was young second lieutenant. First combat mission.
Yeah.
Well, Owen, I mentioned you wouldn't know him if he walked in the room. You probably wouldn't know Mr. Fuller if he was sitting on the couch with you, would you?
No, it's been too long.
Well, he is.
Quinn Fuller. I'm the guy you picked up 48.
You're kidding.
We tracked him down.
You're not.
No, the gentleman got in touch with me 2 weeks ago. I had been through Marshall twice trying to find you. And,
This is unbelievable.
well, I told several of them that over the years I have prayed that before I die, God will let me see you again. So I hope he's not bringing all this together.
This
Well, it's good to see you.
I can't believe. I tell you, this is unbelievable.
In fact, I was thinking you might recognize Elmer Davis' name. I was trying to locate him. He was the medic.
It's so good to meet you
But,
again.
well, I enjoyed the first meeting better.
Owen and Quinn back together after 48 years. Mission accomplished. Wouldn't you agree? Now that you've seen the video, here's a little more that would qualify as the rest of the story. A few years after the grand reunion of Quinn and Owen, I got a call from a guy who said, "I hear you've been trying to find me." It was Elmer Buddy Davis, the rescue medic. What a joy it was to connect those three guys from the life-saving rescue mission by phone. And during their many phone conversations, Quinn and Owen learned that Elmer had never received the commendation that he was eligible for from that mission. The paperwork had supposedly been lost somewhere along the line. So Owen and Quinn went to work, contacting senators, congressmen, the Air Force, the Office of Veteran Affairs, pursuing their quest until it was granted. Quinn, Owen, and Elmer were reunited in February 2005 when Elmer received the Distinguished Flying Cross at Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina. For those three men, now all deceased, it was mission accomplished. And in a smaller way, it was a personally satisfying mission accomplished for me to have been instrumental in getting the men back together after all those years. Mission accomplished.